Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. What is the caucus hoping to achieve from this meeting with the president? Because now, obviously, the House of Representatives is controlled by Republicans.
Sure. I think we're pushing for the same things that we were pushing for in the last Congress. And we're asking this president, President Biden, who we believe wants to work with us, to use the office that he has for several things. The first is, of course, next week is the State of the Union address, and to use that platform to engage members not only of Congress, but the general public, American people, in what needs to be a change in police culture. The second, of course, is executive orders that he can put forward that will involve collection of data. We know that there have been carrots given to different police departments to collect that data, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't been successful. And that's many of the reasons that we're not able to quantify what's actually happening on the ground. And the third, of course, is him using his bully pulpit as a convener to bring so many of the stakeholders, including the Senate and colleagues that are controlling the House right now, the House Republicans, to actually engage in serious discussion to put forth additional police reform.
So you want an executive action that would basically force police forces to turn over comprehensive, complete data to the Justice Department about any incidents? Sure.
I mean, right now, when you talk to the director of the FBI, Chris Wray, he says one of the greatest impediments he has is that he does not have, it's voluntary at this time, and not the majority of police departments around the country are not supplying this data, not only on what is actually happening, different incidences, but police officers who have been fired from one jurisdiction and then moved to a different jurisdiction for allegations of police misconduct, et cetera. That is not in a central repository where we can look at it, analyze it, and decide what needs to be done.
One of the big questions is whether people who are pushing for policing reform, such as yourself, are willing to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. In other words, there was a big move in the Senate a year or two ago, and Senator Cory Booker and Senator Tim Scott were working together, and they ultimately could not come to an agreement because of the issue of qualified immunity, whether or not police forces should benefit from some degree of exemption from prosecution because of the difficulty of the job. Would you be willing to support policing reform that did not include that?
Well, I think we have supported police reform and police legislation that hasn't included that. And you'll look at some of the bills that have been passed recently. My good friend and former colleague Val Demings giving additional support to police officers for community policing, for additional training, for support for non-police officers working in different areas. That's been done. And I think if you'll look back on the history of what happened in the Senate, it was not Senator Booker who walked away from the table. We were still engaged in discussion, and the other good senator decided that it was done because we had decided that qualified immunity was a very important component of it. And listen, in my instance, I come from a long law enforcement family. Grandfather, father was a police officer, uncles, whatever. We understand that good police officers, the greatest threat to them are bad police officers. And having qualified immunity doesn't have to be across the board, right? There are instances in which qualified immunity may be removed, whether it's for second-degree assault or attempted murder or degrees which we haven't had discussions about as yet.
You've been tapped by Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries to be the ranking Democrat on the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. That's what the Republicans are calling this new committee to look into how and whether, I guess, the government is politically motivated in going after individuals. What's your strategy going to be? Are you there to play defense? Are you there to get to the bottom? I mean, if you see an egregious abuse, will you join with Jim Jordan and others to say this did go too far?
Sure. You know, I have, and Democrats have said in this Congress that we're willing to work in a bipartisan manner on areas that we believe are going to advance the interests of the American people, whatever that may be, whether that's in legislation, whether that's in funding, et cetera. And this is such an area as well. There are areas that many of us are concerned with regard to the Department of Justice, et cetera. We've just recently seen reports that the media, have put forward about attempts by former Attorney General Bill Barr and what he did to advance the interests of Trump, or this FBI agent who was recently indicted on issues related to Russian interference in investigation. So yes, those are things that we are open to. The media has put forth issues with the IRS disproportionately auditing African Americans. My question is, Jim Jordan, are you interested in looking at those things as well? What I'm not interested in doing, and what we are not willing to do, is performative politics as Democrats. That's not going to advance the interests of the American people. And so we are going to be the truth squad with regard to that. I'm going to lead the team in that area to stop that when it happens. We are not going to be sitting on the committee to support insurrectionists, right? Or the Insurrection Protection Committee, as Hakeem Jeffries has called it. We're here to do the work of Congress, and some of that is, in fact, oversight. And we're willing to go there, but we are not going to spin our wheels on conspiracy theories, looking for fear and to incite fear-mongering in the American people.
All right, Democratic Delegate Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands, thanks so much. Always good to see you.